I don't think people understand that we are basically living in the Roman Empire 2.0. Specifically, at the end of the Roman Empire 2.0. Here's why I think this. It's because of coin clipping. Now, if you don't know what coin clipping is, they had 8-gram gold coins, and that was their currency. The Roman Empire took all the coins, collected them all, and then clipped off a little bit of the edge, giving it 7 grams to 5.5, eventually all the way down to 4.5 grams of gold per coin. And this was the first inflation in history. And even to this very day, that is why there's these little rivets around the edges on our coins today. It is because of coin clipping. Ultimately, this was the demise of the Roman Empire because the citizens began to figure out that this was less than what they were told. The Roman Empire did this to fund the Roman Empire. The citizens figured it out, and they ultimately raised prices on things because it was less gold than it used to be. Sound familiar? Ultimately, laws were put out that said that they could not raise prices, thus halting production, civil unrest, wars, riots, and all that and more, all because of coin clipping. Now, does that sound familiar? How about raising the rent prices? I know people my age think that it's corporate greed, and maybe it is a little bit greed, but in reality, do you think that these people back then were being greedy, or did they just understand that the coins were not the same as what they once were? Yesterday, I got a bowl of Chipotle, and it cost me $25. I had a bowl and a sparkling water. 3 years ago, at most, that would have been $13. At the very most. And let's account for 5% corporate greed. I'll give them $3 of corporate greed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not an issue of left versus right. This is an issue of centralized banks versus us. They want you to blame corporations, and I'm not a corporation apologist by any means of the imagination, especially the ones who are involved with the government. That is fascism. The reason that they want you to blame the corporations is because effectively they are doing the same thing as the Roman Empire did of coin clipping. The fact of the matter, since 2020, 80% of all the US dollars that have ever been printed have been printed since that time. So my Chipotle bowl being double, that is a result of them, the corporations, being ahead of the curve and realizing that this coin is not what it used to be. I've watched over 20 or 30 different Fed meetings from Jerome Powell, and I can assure you, every single meeting, they cherry pick the most favorable inflationary items to present to the public that inflation is not as bad as it was. They never pick the same ones. Coin clipping. Even worse, I'm sure they called it 8% inflation, but I guarantee you your food bill, if you really measure it, is almost double, just like Chipotle. Are the farmers being corporate greed too? Is everyone being corporate greed, or has our coins been clipped, and are they significantly less than they used to be? This will ultimately lead to the demise. The question is, how long will it take? I don't know. But one thing I know for sure, there has never, ever, ever in the history of ever been a government printed money that everyone accepted that started with that. It always started with something that backed it, such as gold, such as silver, such as oil. It never was backed by nothing in the beginning. What can you do to save yourselves from the demise of the collapsing currency? You can take your easy money, aka the US dollar, and I call it easy because there is no limit to the amount that they can create. You can take that easy money and purchase hard money. What is hard money? Hard money is money that is difficult to acquire, such as silver, such as gold, such as Bitcoin. The fact of the matter is Bitcoin relies 100% on verification and 0% 0% on trust. The US dollar relies 100% on trust and 0% on verification. The Federal Reserve has never been audited in over 109 years. Bitcoin gets audited every single 10 minutes by every single validator. Follow me for more, you savages.